I won't preamble too much. I'll get straight into the next act. He's actually one of my fault. They're all brilliant. But yeah, look, I really love this guy. There's not much more to say. He was the runner-up in the state final of the Poetry Slam. Now, Blowski won it.
Yeah, sorry.
And yeah, so part of his prize, he got to fly over to Sydney for the National Poetry Slam. Okay? So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Mr. Chris Arnold. Big round of applause!
Good evening.
Hi.
Hi. Are you well? I'm not, so I'm not sure I can trust my memory, so you'll have to excuse me. Now, everything here is based on folk tales. If you're interested in any particular folk tale, come and speak to me. This one I don't know at all because I only revised it last night. It's called Snow White. One gate stands to be assailed. The horse lords are gone, and now a fructose stench tenders Queen's ships. The words of men have become truncated, ground to knife points. The man who would speak at length, I am Chevalier, faces fields with chalice in hand, mail and barding paper thin. His horse, exhausted, steps into morning sun, steps on soft blades, paves set with melted frost. His horse will not leave. She is tended by daisies, her third death etched in marble, cased in crystal, chased in silver rose. She is snow white and blood red in the half mirror of glass, and he tilts to lift a slip of her. Battles ocean, mountain and molten call for what remains. And the one that dispatched her sent her into the wild and asked her hard for the pot. She will be bound in iron shoes by little men with proud feet, but he will not harm her, for the mirror's silver tongue speaks only in lies. Thank you. I don't know how much more work that one needs. Anyway, move on to something French, I think. This is called Bluebeard. It ends like this. Your sister screamed from rooftops while you, confined below, test the futility of prayer. You stop to trace the canyons on your hand and wonder if you really know this beast and how it'll live when it and its golden band are all that's left. With this ring, I thee wed, locked on the black side of an iron door, the spattered gore of shattered brides lost from thought, as long as we both shall live, because this room, this vault of dismembered truth is watched by the greatest door and takes the finest key, in sickness and in the beginning, to be blunt, your mother should have known better. You're not the widow of Flanders, and he certainly isn't Mr. Darcy. He's too old, too imposing, too blue. A man should not present as a cloudless sky reflected in a black bull's pelt, but the dear old duck had French silk in her eyes. Forgot that red too makes an imperial match with gold. So it's down to you, you note, as Mozart's flowered skin skip in the last of the sun, recalling that the stench of decay is the surest sign of life. Step from beneath the steeple of your palms and your lifeline grows long and deep in your fist. I will not be suffered in whispers. And with this, and with sisters rampart keening, a line of brothers are blurred together. Storm inspirited on steaming nostrils, steeds, drawn wicked-edged and gleaming down dim corridors toward dawn. Cut the echoes from his throat and into a climbing sun. Where would you like to go next? Norway or Japan?
Norway.
Norway. You can wait for Japan. world, east of the sun, west of the moon. The white bear named its price, and the python inside her twisted. Call it fright, call it poor foresight, call it prudence if you like. Her old man pimped her after all, and after all she was young, exquisite. A great landscape hung on crumbled walls of the home she'd always known, and she was destined, she thought, for someone large, someone strong, someone altogether less ursine. So she stood, fixed like ionic stone, lips curved toward her grass-green frock, arms enfolded in white sleeves like strongly worded letters, heels mortared in flagstones. She had no choice but to go. The white bear lies cloistered under tundra for months, sleep rendered against the sleet of 6 moon nights, heart and lungs as still as hummingbirds on film. And he wakes when his pelt channels the sun. Dim with sleep, fat depleted, he throws his bulk against the snow, cracks ice with swipes of granite hands as he seeks what he needs on his bearing. Now, some who tell her stories say her father's constant drone bewitched her into riding through the frost with painful fingers tangled in his hair, tendons tight with cortisol and cold until her knuckles camouflaged against his back. But I prefer to think that at the sight of this great beast erased in a blizzard, tail small and coy against his glacial flanks, I like to think that the python inside her climbed a higher limb and snapped the bones of her heart. I'm going to have a stab at the one that got me to the national slam and got me quite low scores at the national forum. I believe this one's German. This one, I've called it the 12 Swans. You might know it as the 7 Swans, you might know it as the 12 Wild Ducks. I think there's a 6 Swans version. There's lots of different names for the same thing. It was on that day 17 years ago that a new world flooded the eyes of a child. Ice blue eyes like those of her mother, and 12 swans took wing to the north. And I came bearing gifts like a magus with a star in the east, a star wrapped in tin with a tail of flame, white as snow and rose red. And it took me by surprise that a 17-year-old would care to speak to me, rag in hand, an aging man that writes his mind in code. And the boy, too young to be his sister swan, struck a bargain with the old man, and downy feathers began to sprout and pop his skin. And the first journey of a waterbird is on the surface, head down, an image of stillness on a glassy tarmac river, pushed along from below. And an airport is a place for transients, when the thistle is picked and spun, woven and sewn in silence. We hope to clothe lost brothers and return home. And the hand in his back, there she is, off you go. Because there she was, white as snow and rose red. And he stuttered over carpet, but her ice blue eyes caught him. And fledged, his white wings unfurled, and he wheeled south to the warmth of her arms. And the old man took up his burden, or hers, or someone's. And perhaps the load looked heavy like thunderhead, but a fragile thing must be born gently. And that was the last time I saw her. I'll have a stab at this one from memory. This is called the tongue-cut sparrow. I don't know if wine is the best thing for this, but we'll try. After the incident, hand around her throat, hollow bones strained and set to snap, fat old fingers at her jaw to force the blade's way in. The apron flecked in red, a taste of iron and a mouthful of flame. After the glossectomy, she fled. He pushes cloth-bound feet home, away from 20,000 days at the plough, toward his sparrow's song. Heavy on his maple branch, the wood as straight as his back and as soft as his hands. He stops, stoops low, tugs his tunic's yellow cord to touch his Netsky sparrow carved in bone. As he treads, he minds the plum-embroidered cloth containing cricket gifts hidden in his sleeve. He feels the waxy feathers on his hands, the notes that beat against the anvils in his ears. After the attack, all acid eyes and soundless aside from the scrape of blade on beak, she spat her blood on stone bridges, fallow land, peony fields, and finally a forest. Sank her voiceless roots in a dead tree's gutted thorax, clutched her hatchling young to her breast, safe in a land where wild cats kill without malice. Far from home, he falls among the understory, failed by knotted limbs that scratched the frost for green through far too many winters. Wakes to find the grass between his toes, serrated one way, smooth the other. Knows that voice, the scent of rice, the sparrow in the candle glow that sang him back to health. But never thought she'd make him smile again, for he is old and the road is long.